Howdy everyone. I've been able to play Outriders for the past 2 days, and all I have to say is that I really like this game, and it's pretty good. That's it. That's the entire video. This game's pretty good. Specifics I like. Let's go with the story. I don't want to get into spoilers, but the story, it's the simple looter shooter story. I've had fun playing it. At some points, me and a friend were joking about how do we get to point A to point B, and that wasn't something I worried about too much because I just like learning about this world. The world itself is interesting to carry a pretty mediocre story so far. The bosses are quite fun to face once you actually do an actual boss, not an elite or an altered, which those are fun to fight up against. Some can be difficult with abilities that can heal that you need to interrupt, and speaking about that, the skills that you have to use, you can't just use all damage skills, you can't just use all support skills. You gotta have to have a skill that interrupts people, or you're just gonna get spammed with abilities, and that can cause you to die real quick, which this game does not hold your hand if you're playing on the world tiers. The world tiers, I feel like, are the way you're supposed to play this game. I've heard some people are changing their world tier to world tier 1 so they can get to endgame quicker, and I don't think they're going to be ready for the endgame. The true endgame, because I'm playing through the story still. I think I'm level 23. Can't log on because there's been server issues, which is the one downside I've had so far. Because I haven't been playing online that much besides with my friends. So being down and not being able to play kind of sucks. However, I'm not gonna let that taint my experience with this game. I've been having a lot of fun whenever I have been able to log on, and I could say that I'm definitely gonna be playing this game in the future, and I hope the developers, even though they said that they just wanted to release a full experience from the start, they invest into this game, because I believe this game is what Anthem should have been. I see a lot of comparisons. People are saying, oh, it's like Gears of War had a child with Warframe, and I see it more alongside of this is what Anthem wanted to be, and I feel happy. I really like the game Anthem. I think this game does way better in many aspects, such as the mod system. The mod system and crafting system is so much fun to play around with, but there are some issues I've noticed with some certain weapon varieties that are outclassed by a variant you can put onto a weapon, such as the sharpshooter on assault rifles gives you a smaller magazine, less damage than a tactical variant of an assault rifle, which the tactical variants on any weapon I personally see as the better version of that weapon. 3-round bursts are pretty good. Some mods are really good, where like if you get in the beginning of the game, you're essentially set for the rest of the game. But there's so much more to explore and experiment with. I've made a pyromancer, so most of my epic gear revolves around me burning people and healing from that burning. And it took me a long time to get the right build, especially for a pyromancer, because he relies mostly off his skills marking enemies and killing them pretty quick. Which, let's talk about the healing in this game. It's very fun to mess around and play up close and personal, but if you're not the right class, that can be a bit lethal for you. Some classes are better at staying a little bit back. My friend, he was playing with the Technomancer, and he was able to run up close and personal, freeze a few enemies, and then back out, and then I would come in with my burning abilities after he had froze someone, and we were synergizing well together. He recently found his perk, which increases his fire damage, or not his fire damage, his fire power when someone is on fire or has burn status effect on them. So he has a build when he plays around with me, and he has a build when he's playing solo, which I think that's personally pretty cool. I hope I can start investing into something like that. I need to get better gear. I haven't gotten any legendary armor pieces, but the weapons I've gotten are pretty fun. One was this LMG that creates these balls, and if you destroy these balls, they do a bunch of damage to any nearby enemies. It's very unique, and if I were to delete that gun, I could put that on other weapons, which that's very fun to do. And you can combine that with other perks, like I believe there's this one perk which creates a few grenades on a kill, so I could see those two working pretty well together. There's this one perk called a Claymore, which I'm in love with, where you can send down this sword every 4 seconds against your enemies to a bunch of damage, and you can sit from pretty far away and just hit them a few times, and the sword will do the rest of the damage for you. There's so much you can do in this game. There's so much to be explored, but so far, after reaching level 23, World Tier 10, I would say this game is pretty enjoyable. There's still a lot of story content for me to do. There's still a lot of side quests, bounty hunts, monster hunts, which are an activity in themselves. Very fun to do. Seeing all the different altered bosses you could fight that have the special abilities that they do. I would definitely say, if you can, play this game, or wait for more reviews to come out with the full end game, because I don't even know what that's like yet. I've heard that people are having fun with it, but I have yet to see. So I'm excited to figure it out. Hopefully the servers are back up soon. And other than that, yeah, I would say this game is pretty good. Definitely recommend that. It's that just sounds awkward. Alright, my bad. I'm just going to continue this from here. After recording this, I had thought of something, and I want to mention a specific boss fight. Once you get to an area in the game called the Forest, I'm not going to spoil the boss fight, but the large-scale enemy boss fights are quite fantastic. Me and my friend, we were just talking about how we want this game to expand so much that we don't care if this game does like big player activities, like 6 people activities with no mechanics. Just some of these boss fights are very fun to do. Watching this giant thing chase you, or you're in an environment which is, the environment itself is as lethal as the boss. So we think some bosses like that would be a great addition for endgame. We hope that there's some bosses like that, because bosses like that really hook us into the game. We think those alone would be a great addition to endgame if they're not there, as I've said. They're the giant scale of some of the arenas that we have had, the having to fight the boss and then enemies coming to fight us as well. Me focusing some of the enemies, since I'm better with crowd control, and him focusing on damaging the boss because he can have his turrets and his rockets. It's a very fun thing, and I'm enjoying this game, and I hope you guys are as well. Bye bye, peace.